camera here, which I will be using to see what I'm doing. So, welcome. Um, we're outdoors today. So, the reason for this is because we are taking our finished piece, well, almost finished piece. We are going to finish it today. We are going to do a couple things. We're going to sand down the sides. Now, when working with resin, um, you kind of want to do this outdoors or in a well ventilated area because it will make that epoxy dust stuff. And that is not good. You don't want to be breathing that stuff in. We don't want to. That stuff's toxic. It's gonna mess you up. So I'm gonna go get my mask because we had a little sun issue. Having to set this all up took a little longer than expected. So I'm gonna come closer. I'm gonna show you this. So this is what we got so far. Um, so here we have the beach. Nice glossy resin, nice and see-through. Got some dust still on here. But what's interesting is there was an edge on this that we sanded down. Now here it's a little foggy, and I'm going to find out how to correct this. But this is a spot that I had sanded down where there was some tape issues. Now we have corrected that, but like I said, it's still foggy and not nice and clear like here, like we want it to be. Really, we're really concerned about the top. That's our main concern. But here, let's focus in a little bit better. There we go. That's a little bit better. So we like how nice and clear this is, how we can see the leaves and everything else. But yeah, let's focus back over there. So, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to run inside my garage. Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for waiting. So yeah, safety first. Alright, let me see if you guys can still hear me through this mask. Alright, good. Alright. So we have our sander. We're going to put on a fine grit pad. Oh, and let's unbox these, shall we? So, a lot of this is as easy as just peeling off the tape. And we get this nice clean edge. Oh, that came up perfect. Like I said, that spot where we glued with the hot glue, there's a little bit of an edge there, but we can easily sand that off. But other than that, it's great. You'll probably see my dog Coco walking around. So we don't have to worry too much about any of the excess tape that stays on the bottom. That's not a main concern because no one's going to see that. This stuff we're going to put in our garbage. Alright, so let me bring this a little closer. Now this one came out pretty good. We have a nice beach area that has that mixture of wet and dry sand. Basically, from last time, I poured a little bit of resin on the raised beach, and as that settled back down into the pool, it left a nice gloss that makes it look like if the sand is actually wet, which is nice. I like that. It's nice and clear. The edges nice and smooth. They have a nice clarity to them. Now there's a bit of a wave to this, which honestly I kind of don't mind. The sides are mostly straight. But the little bit of wave that is in there, I kind of think it adds to its character. So honestly, I'm not too upset about that. But one thing we do have is we have a lip here. Um, that's from where the resin rose up against the sides. And as the rest of it kind of cooled and settled and condensed, it left this raised edge. So we're going to take care of that right now. Now, I will mention when you do this, you want to have your sander uh, on a beveled edge. Um, that way, you're not pressing. You're just taking care of that raised edge and not actually putting any marks on the actual resin top. Um, All right, that came out wonderful. So there's a little bit of a marred edge there where that lip was. But we're going to take care of that momentarily. First, let's finish off the other two sides. Nice and smooth. So now there's this one part right here in the front. Um, it feels a little sticky, as if some of the hot glue kind of mixed with the resin a little bit, and it didn't exactly cure, which makes me a little worried. Um, I mean, it's hard at this point, but honestly, that should be fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to take care of this little lip. Excellent. So now that that is all smooth and we got our edges sanded down, I'm gonna take my finished piece and I'm gonna line them up. I'm just gonna take a look at it. Yeah, sure, our dunes aren't exactly the same height. You know, in retrospect, you know, I was working with what material I had, and you know, it's not terrible. But I guess my main concern was the beach, the actual water part, um, where the beach meets the rest of the beach, and these line up excellent. Um, Try to turn them around here. Now, this is meant to be modular, so I wanted this edge to match this edge, but also these two edges to match if I were to switch them. And honestly, I like that side even better. I'm going to leave these out in front for display, as I'm going to continue what I did to that one, to the next piece. So now let's check this one out. This one is the river piece. So once again, I want to come a little closer and show you. Set my camera a little... Come on. There we go, I think. So it's funny, you can actually see the reflection of the wall and the window behind it. It's so clear. It's so shiny, but maybe outdoors isn't the best place for this. But this has that nice river blue color, and it moves into that that lagoon. And there's the way the water is that I made it in here, almost by accident, to be perfectly honest. But it works. It almost acted as a barrier where the two kinds of water combine. The plants look excellent. I'm really happy with those. But let's get this sanded up, and we'll take a closer look at it later. Next week we'll look at the complete finished product, and we'll get to that. But let's do the christening, shall we? Where we take off all this tape and stuff. I do have some resin drips in here that look like they possibly cured after, which is weird. I didn't really expect that. But you know what? It's going to be fine because we're probably going to cover that up when we do wave effects. So I'm really interested in how the back of this turned out. Okay, so we did have a leak. It definitely kept the resin in, which is good. But this whole back area has a layer of resin. So it did pour out and pool a little bit on the sides, but I'm not mad about it. It looks fine. And honestly, I'm really happy with the back view of this. Is beautiful, actually. It looks a lot like a real stream with this this medium I used for with the grass stuff I used. Now this wasn't like flocking; it was that kind of moss you get. It's almost like lichen, but it's like a sheet moss you use for that you can find in the floral department. Now this one did get really hot with how much resin that was there, especially the top layer, which I think is why it has so much curvature to it. Also because of the different dimensions. So, oh, this looks great. This looks great. In fact, the front barely has any issues with it. The glue we used on this was the first one we did, and this one was more rushed when we did the glue for that one. But this one was the first one we did, and actually it came out better, which I think is funny. There's just a little lip, um, and there's none of that area that looks like it didn't get entirely cured because of the glue. That makes me wonder if the glue was 100% dry when I started putting the resin on. But yeah, so let's get to sanding this. Another thing, you want to take your time. You don't want to rush it. Resin dust gets all over everything, so you really want to make sure you have this mask. You don't think it's going to be a lot, but then you do it, and I mean, it's covered in white powder. So, this is definitely something I wouldn't want to do inside. Um, so yeah, now, now we're gonna buff. We're gonna take those spots that are um, a little messed up. So I have 3 buffing pads, a coarse one, a medium, and a soft. I'm going to start with the medium one. Not going to bother doing the course, not for this project. Now, another thing is on these two, it was a little bit raised towards the beach, so I have a little nick on in the corners where I went over a little bit and hit the paint a little bit. But once again, when we end up making our final round on these, we'll do touch ups and stuff. So. Honestly, I'm going to leave it there. No, my first one, I did go as far as to use that really soft pad to give it a little extra buff. But honestly, I think it looks pretty good where it's at. So, I'm going to get set up at my other table real quick, and we're going to do some water effects. Okay, so here we are. So we have our starter piece. And now, like I said, when I buffed this one, I used the soft pad, and I quickly learned not to go flat on when you sand it, and I got a few marks, which sucks. And then as I was sanding it with the soft pad, I noticed there wasn't much of a gain from using the soft pad than I had from the medium pad. And that's why for the second step, or for those two, I just forewent it all together. Now, we are going to make, slide that up there, our wave effects. So our wave effects are just a mixture of Mod Podge and baking soda. So just equal parts. So it's going to get pretty foamy. Might actually be using almost all the rest of my Mod Podge. Whoop. I'm on a little bit of an incline. So no, I'm not measuring this out. I'm really just going by the height on the side. And we'll see. We'll mix that up and see if it's the right consistency. Really, it should be nice and foamy. Still kind of liquidy, but it's the foam that you want. So we're going to mix this up together. Well, like as you see, I think I actually need a little bit more. Well, we'll see when I mix the rest of this in. But it's looking almost there. We're looking almost there. Just continue mixing. And actually, right now, yeah, I'm definitely going to need a little bit more baking soda. But honestly, with how much we're making, this will probably be enough for everything. Um, so that's nice. I'm using a clear plastic container for the express reason that I can see through the sides, so I can mix proportionally. It's a lot like baking, honestly. Sometimes you're making a dough. It's like, huh, do I have enough? Do I need more of one than the other? What's going on here? Now, there are many cleaning tutorials out there, and I'll be honest, I don't throw away my brushes. Um, they they evolve basically. They start off really good brushes, and I use them for the good brush things. But then when they get to this point, and I have to use them for um, this kind of a purpose like this, where it's glue or something like that, you don't need to throw them away. You can just clean them. I think I'm going to need a smidge more Mod Podge in here. It's just a little too thick now. Just a little bit. A little bit goes a long way. That's it. Just a little bit. There we go. That's good. Yeah, that's about it. Basically, you want to form a nice paste. All nice and mixed up. And once it's pretty uniform, now we get to play. So, how are we going to do this? What is our plan of attack? Obviously, the waves are going to go this way. Now, I already have a gradient in here that kind of shows kind of where the waves will be going. We're going to go with that. Um, so, we're going to start towards the end. Or maybe, actually, no, I'm wrong. We should start towards the front and work our way back. So we're going to get a little bit on the shore. A nice, good old sea foam. Now, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, by the ocean, sea foam is not. It's not consistent. Some areas there's more than others. No, but this is a good way to hide those sneaky little gaps. Um, that where it wasn't quite level. So we're just gonna get this nice foam effect going. This nice beachy foam. You know me, I love to stipple. Okay. A little more up in these rocks. Alright. So, turn that around. looks pretty good. It looks like a foamy beach. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Now, a lagoon is pretty still for the most part. Um, and we want this to be somewhat modular. So, crazy beach or nice, calm lagoon. Well, our waters are pretty crystalline, which means it's probably somewhat calm. So we're just going to go through and we're going to make a line of our foam. Now this is going to be the surf. And one thing I want to do is I want to do the same thing I did with the beach. I want it match up on both sides. So they're about equidistant away. Yeah. And that way I can do the same on all the pieces. So that way um, the surf lines up. So I want to keep that in mind as I'm doing this. I'm just basically going to do about 3 lines of this. One or well, 3 more. So we have the foam at the surf, which I'm not counting. And then these the 3 waves. And then I'm going to have one more on to kind of hide that edge. Now, although I'm hiding the edge, that's not the end all be all. Now, this is going to be the most basic of surfs right here, because when you're at the ocean, the waves don't always line up exactly. Um, so there are spots where the water is going to go over. And I'm going to do that here. Kind of create this. Don't be afraid to use your fingers. To create this separation of why there's more here than there is forward. So I'm liking this. I'm liking how this is looking. I just gotta spread out some more. So I'm doing 2 things here. One, I'm pulling back um, to create a depth of where the rise is coming up. So that's what I'm doing initially. So I'm building it up first, and then coming back and building that rise, and then I'm kind of pushing some forward to create that actual wave. And some spots are a little inconsistent, so we will just fix those up a bit. Now, I use the larger brush mainly because I wanted to mix up a lot. Um, and then, uh, so I'd have a lot for all my projects. However, I feel like when it comes to doing this detail right here, I feel like I would have benefited more if I had brought out um, a smaller brush. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I'm being a little lazy here, but I also don't want to waste time, so I'm not gonna go inside to get more. And yes, I'm creating kind of a big wave here on this corner. I like it. I like it a lot. Just put a little finishing touches. So there we go. Nice wave effects. I think it looks pretty great, personally. There's a few little spots I want to do. I'm gonna do those in a minute. That's gonna be my final step. Is basically where the plants are. Now, where the plants are, there is going to be some foam building up around them. Um, I honestly don't want to go so far as to completely cover my plants because then what's the point? So we're just going to do a little bit of stippling, and that's it. Just a little bit where the plants meet the surface. Too much there. And that's really it. We're going to clean off any excess pieces. Now this is just Mod Podge and baking soda, so any of these little crystals that are just sitting here we're going to get rid of. And I think I'm really happy with this. Make destroying more in the corner here that I'm helping. And basically, just as you're doing this, and if you have a big enough batch like this, now I'm gonna end the stream here in just a second. But like I said, I'm gonna do those other two pieces. Um, but you want to keep stirring it if you're using this much at once. Um, Otherwise, mix small batches. Um, it will dry out eventually, and obviously that would suck. So just gotta tease it here and there. Get it where you want it. fill in a little bit more foam up here. Now, I feel like I'm in doing some of this recovery around this rocks. It's not exactly flowing the way I want it to. Obviously not. I mean, it's Mod Podge and baking powder. It's, glue and powder. So I'm actually going to clear some of this away now that some of this is dry. So I'm hopefully going to get more of these rocks showing again. Okay, I don't want to go in that direction because that's taking it away. A lot of people don't realize this. You have another end of the brush. And I'm going to be using that right now. So we're just going to use this to kind of dig out some of those rock details. Get rid of some of the lumps that look weird. Pat down some of the areas that don't need to be there. Kind of smush it around. Get in between those rocks. I mean, yeah, I could be using a smaller brush right now or a, some sort of tool. But this right here, this is in fact a kind of tool. Actually, I'm kind of glad I'm using this for one purpose that I'm discovering right now, and that is that I covered up a plant, apparently. So we're going to uncover that plant just a little bit. Just going to do some stuff with that. All right. I'm happy with that. Let me know what you think. And yeah, let's other than just waiting for this to dry and then adding in some final touch-ups, maybe going over this with a fine brush, we should be all set. All right, guys, thank you for watching, and see you next time.